the years, lots of little bits of John Woo have been ripped off and have wound up in American films. People firing 2 Beretta pistols at once. Eventually in Hollywood, the word got out, God, that was inventive. I mean, how'd you ever think that up? And someone finally said, well, there's this guy over in Hong Kong who's been doing that for a long time.
It's a combination of like a cinematic maestro virtuoso-ness. He goes so far with it, and there's so much, you know, it's larger than life and very operatic.
John Woo's style has been classified as being very excessive, and definitely that's a trademark of his films. But I think basically his films is marked by a very strong passion not only for the cinema, but also a passion for the kind of relationship between the characters.
John Woo's become a cult figure to many modern American writers and filmmakers, and I think it's a reputation that's well-deserved. They're passionate about his visuals and his sense of pace, and really the way he approaches sequences are very different. As different as when Hitchcock first approached suspense, John Woo is to action what Hitchcock was to that.
Okay, Billy. Stop. Yeah.
Born in mainland China, John Woo has become synonymous with action cinema. A veteran of the Hong Kong studio system, he's directed everything from comedies to kung fu films. But it's his ultra-violent thrillers that have made his reputation, bringing the hyperkinetic visuals of the martial arts movie to modern settings. His 1986 film, A Better Tomorrow, launched the trend, proving one of Hong Kong's biggest grossing hits. 3 years later, he made The Killer, which was to bring him international success and several Hollywood offers.
We had been developing a film at Universal to produce, my partner Robert Tapper and myself. It's a picture called Hard Target, and it was to star Jean-Claude Van Damme. So we felt it would be the perfect combination for John Woo's first American picture to get him in on this, because we needed someone who had a great visual style and a great sense of action.
Pretty good. Can we fix the camera angle like this? I want to see it.
There's a scene where Arnold Vosloo, who plays our South African bad guy, and Jean-Claude are squaring off, and the scene begins with each one of them on either side of a wall. And these two guys are going to tilt at each other with this piece of glass between them and emptying guns and diving over desks, and it'll take us a week to film that. And in the screenplay, I copped out and said, this is a piece of film that only John Woo could capture. John did something like this in Hard Boiled, and he said, this will be better.
He's bringing a vision that has both technical pizzazz to it, but also emotional poetry. I've never seen a man move the camera so much, but I've also never seen a man who moves the camera in such a way that puts the camera exactly in the right place at the right time.
And whistle.
It makes it very difficult sometimes because we're using 4 to 6 cameras in a lot of the action sequences.
I like to shoot a lot of coverage and different angle and a different kind of movement. Usually I don't have a shot list. I will shoot whatever I feel, whatever I want.
This is just one of the many action sequences in this movie, and in typical John Woo style, there's a large number of cuts. I think in this one like 12-minute sequence, there's over 500 shots, and even though it's very intricate as far as the number of shots and various kinds of shots, they all go together really smoothly.
when you have a tea with him, he's a very quiet person. When he in the location, he's totally different. He's another guy, you know. He enjoyed the bombing, the sound of the bullet. When he say action, everybody is like this. Never put a cotton in his ear.
You never know what to expect, you know?
Basically what John wants are big flashes and big bangs. He shoots a lot of ammo. I've been here for 4 weeks, and we've already fired 9,000 rounds, and for the whole show we'll probably do about 50,000 rounds.
And how would that compare with the kind of standard American action?
Well, I did a movie called Universal Soldier. And on Universal Soldier, I shot 4,000 rounds. So we're looking over 10 times the amount. It's John Woo for you.
Regarded as Woo's masterpiece, The Killer's fans include director Walter Hill, who even considered remaking it for Hollywood. A poignant tale of chivalry and honor, it stars Chow Yun Fat as a hired assassin who accidentally wounds a singer in a nightclub shootout. Racked by guilt, he takes one last job to save her sight, only to find himself double-crossed by the underworld and pursued by the police.
It was directed with such belief in what I think most directors would recoil from in terms of the narrative concerns of the movie, and therefore became transcendent. This really kind of odd plot of Magnificent Obsession meets The Samurai or something like that. I mean, it was, and yet it survives by the seemingly unshakable belief in the director for the material and more importantly, the characters.
阿莊，係咪你返嚟啊？
係啊 ，Jenny。
What he does that Americans don't have is he just has good ideas. Like in The Killer, when he comes to the woman's, the blind gal's apartment. All right, the cop and the hitman are there, and they can't say who they are, so the blind girl doesn't know. But they each got like a Mexican standoff going there, but they got to act like they don't.
你帶咗朋友嚟啊？
嚇，波友嚟嘅。我哋細個嗰陣喺沙字區踢波踢到大嘅。係。 佢叫細 B 啊嘛，蝦頭。
原來你叫蝦頭啊
That stuff is just incredible, man. I mean, that means you'd watch 20 years of American movies and never see anything that clever.
不嬲你都咁認真嘅咩？係啊，簡單嘅嘢我唔會做，我都係。所以我覺得我哋有啲嘢好似。你係想話大家都咁好波？唔多跳，切。
Even though they're working the different way, but they both have something in common, like the honor, a dignity.
我想你幫我做一件事。如果我俾人打死，而對眼冇受傷，你即刻送我去醫院，將我對眼角膜留俾 Jenny。如果連呢樣都做唔到，一定要將筆錢交俾佢，然後送佢上機。 真係冇第二個選擇。我呢世人唯一做得啱嘅，就係呢次。
The young people nowadays, they don't know about, not much people know about the honor, chivalry, or loyalty. So I would try to remind them what we have lost, what we have to get it back.
People complain about the violence in John Woo films, and the two big things that people complain about in American films are sex and violence. And if you sit down and you look at the morality of his films, there's nothing wrong with them. They fit even the most strict, you know, fundamentalist kind of view of the way the world should be. There's a character in Hard Boiled named Mad Dog who is a hardened criminal who's blown away, I don't know, maybe 100 people by the time we see this one scene in the film. And he refuses to open fire in a room full of hospital patients because he just doesn't do that, because innocent bystanders are not killed. There are some other things that you'll see in John Woo films that relate to the violence that you won't see in American film. He has a tendency as a director to just do whatever he feels the story demands. If it involves having a child in peril, he'll do it. You can't do that in the United States. It will not be permitted.
John himself is such a sedate and quiet and well-mannered person that I fear for him in Hollywood. I think, even though I'm the producer of the film, one of the producers of the film, that John's style will be compromised in making an American picture.
When I went to New Orleans to see John, the producer said that, John, you cannot kill too many people there in this scene. If you kill 4 people in this scene, the next scene will be 2 people, okay? You cannot kill 6 people in this scene, because next scene, no more gangster, no more person you can kill.
Obviously, John's films is full of violence, and he choreographs it in such a way that it has become more aesthetic than actual. Really, sometimes you enjoy the violence, but without any guilt. Or sometimes it would turn into some kind of a guilty pleasure.
喂，三級唔啱睇啊！
Because John is making a picture for the American studio Universal, he's going to have to deliver an R-rated picture, R-rated by the Motion Picture Association of America. So it's going to be a much more toned-down John Woo than we're used to seeing. But still, the American audiences have never seen a John Woo picture. So even John Woo at 90% is going to be mind-blowing.
Yeah, we'll go all this way for the burning, all that guys firing, and then we'll turn around on Jean-Claude.
Okay. Now, do we want to have a little flyer on them when they come out? A little flyer on their back. You hit the end of that cable.
Billy, here you come down, Billy. I wouldn't want to be an American film director in Hollywood next summer with a buddy action movie because there's a new sheriff in town, and that's John Woo.